Hello, and welcome to Meet the Author, a show where we explore the world through the imagination of talented writers. On this show, we will talk with authors from Laurel, Prince George's County, the DMV, and beyond. Our guest author is Miss Kimberly McLemore. Among her many talents, Miss McLemore is an entrepreneur in which she owns or co-owns a couple of businesses. She's a host on radio, TV, and podcasts, and of course, she's an author. Although a victim of abuse, Miss McLemore now uses her many platforms to help others move forward and dare to be fearless. Let's meet Miss McLemore. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Appreciate that.
Okay. So we're just going to start with your background. You have quite an extensive background. I just want to read through briefly, then we'll just talk about it, okay?
Okay.
So you're originally from Iowa.
That's correct.
You graduated from Ashford University. You have a BA in organizational management, and then you have, you're a military veteran, 14 years of service. We thank you for that.
Thank you.
And you have 25 years of experience in project management, and you currently live in Alexandria, Virginia, where you do your other businesses, and we'll go into that more in depth. But just based on that extensive background, how would you say your education and experience has prepared you for where you are today?
It's helped tremendously. So, you know, being that I'm a project manager and a senior consultant during the day and having the background in military, it's allowed me to pursue other positions here in this area, and being that I'm over in Fort Belvoir. So those things have helped tremendously. And of course, being a project manager and having an organizational management background has absolutely helped a lot. Right. And I also come from a background of entrepreneurs. So it's, you know, kind of combining all of it together has really been beneficial for me throughout the years.
Like ingrained and learned
Absolutely.
A little bit of everything, right? Okay. So business-wise, you talked about the work that you do currently, but you have different businesses.
Yes.
So business-wise, you do have a lot going on, and we want to talk about those a little more in detail. So you're the founder and CEO of the Women's Small Business Initiative. Now tell us about that whole project.
Yes, the Women's Small Business Initiative is really an online platform. It's a platform where you can provide resources. So I like to have women share the resources that they have within their business and to help others reach their goals. So that's really what WSBI is all about. And we also have a membership program so that you can also provide some other resources that you feel could be a little more private and you don't want everybody else to know, but as long as you're a member and it's free to sign up, you're more than welcome to go on that platform and just, you know, learn from other people, whether it's on business or if it's something personal and other professional items as well.
Okay. So definitely take a look at that on my downtown.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, you do have a iHeartRadio podcast entitled Your Resource for Success. And is that a part of WSBI?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, and that's another opportunity for all women-owned businesses. And I also have male businesses come on, but they have an opportunity to come on and share their stories and teach other people what it means to be in business and a few other things that we talk about. Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been doing that?
This is my third year.
Okay. So what are your goals? What do you hope to accomplish with this podcast?
Really, it's just like giving other people opportunity to realize that what they do for a living. Because a lot of times people see us, they think that everything is perfect, and this is an opportunity for people to share their story is really what it's boiled down to. To get other listeners and other people who are trying to come into business know what it truly means to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. Sounds good, like something people can really use.
Absolutely.
I definitely look forward to taking a look at that.
Okay.
So you mentioned recently you're the owner of Vigilant Broadcast Radio Station. So tell us all about that and how that got started.
Yes, and that's also a new platform. And actually, I started that in connection with another individual, Miss Ashley Little. We actually have Talk Radio and TV Network LLP, so we're combined together. So I own the Vigilant Broadcasting and she owns Creative Broadcasting. So we combined together to become a network, and we provided a new platform for people who are new and existing, either business owners or just people who want to do talk shows, but relevant talk shows, and you know, that provide great information, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's fitness, whether it's talking about chefs, anything to get people to understand how to expand their brand. And my previous show, The Author's Corner, which I've had for the last year, I was on a different platform. Things didn't work out for that particular platform, so I decided, you know, I need to start doing this on my own. Started doing the research and realized that I can own my own station, and it's all internet based. And it's just, we've only actually been in the business for a few weeks, and we've already pretty much plateaued where we thought we weren't going to be in a quarter. So,
Okay, well, that's good.
So yeah, so it's moving really fast, and we're just glad that we can provide the opportunity for those to do something, like I said, for their business to help their brand and expand in a massive way.
Okay. Yeah. And so you mentioned Author's Corner. You do Author's Corner on this platform?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So how does that work? Tell us a little bit about that.
So
it's similar to what we're doing here?
Exactly, and it's similar to what you do. I bring on new or existing, authors onto the platform, and they could talk about their stories and talk about where you can purchase them and tell us why. Why did you write that story, and how are you helping others, whether it's something tragic or whether it's something in business, whatever that book is about. They get an opportunity to read excerpts from that book, and we talk about those excerpts as well.
Okay, sounds good. I like that. Very good idea. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to talk about, since you do have a lot of businesses going on, you do an excellent job with marketing. So I show now at the end of my show a flyer that you prompted me to make, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just wanted to find out about your promotion skills. Did you, because it was a lot of work for me, so do you have help with that, or do you do it on your own, or how does that work for you?
Well, I have a graphic artist that I've been using now for the last couple of years, but I provide her my vision, and then she puts it out for me. But as far as the marketing piece, I do all the marketing on my own. And as we kind of talked a little earlier, that with marketing, if you're not out there every day, people forget who you are. Right. And you have to be very creative. You have to do things a little bit differently. But when I talked to you about that, I kind of expected, I guess, a flyer. And so I was like, no, we need to do a flyer because it helps with promotion. And it does. So ever since we started talking about this a year ago almost, that it was just a great thing to do. And everybody's like, oh yeah, this is great. When are you going to be on this? And we'll continue to market it as well afterwards.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. So
You're welcome.
Very resourceful, and I do appreciate that. Okay, so let's go on to your author business. You do have 3 books that we have here. So I read Memoir, so I know about that one, and we'll ask in-depth questions about that one. But let's talk about your other 2.
Okay.
So How to Be a Success by Just Being You. What's that one all about?
Yes, this book here is based on self-assessment, teaching you how to kind of look and analyze what does it mean to be a success. And I actually wrote this book in 2008, and I had went through a traumatic job loss because they said, oh, you didn't have enough education after I'd already been doing the job for more than a year or 2. And it kind of made me go back and reevaluate who I was. But what really bothered me was that it's about that conformity, that consistent world that we live in, and everybody thinks that we have to conform to. And then I realized that, it was kind of a healing process. So I started writing it down. So 24 hours later, I had this book.
Okay.
And so that's how I came up with the title, and realized that, we don't have to conform to society in order to be who we want to be, and to determine what does success really mean to you.
Okay. Sounds good. So that was 2008. Now we have Are You Living or Existing? When did you write this one?
Just about 4 months ago.
Okay. So that's
So
a
it's
new
been
one.
out 2 months now.
Okay. And what's that all about?
And this book is really kind of focusing, again, I always do a lot more on self-assessment, and really trying to understand, what are you really doing with your life? We know that we're here for a purpose, but are you actually living that purpose? Are we always looking through other people in order to live our dreams? So I'm actually going through a process in that book of having people really just take a look at everything they're doing in life, and are they actually living, or are they just existing?
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Sounds good. So I definitely have to pick those up later. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to this time, but I'll make a point to look at it. Okay, so now we'll talk about the one that I did get a chance to read. And so I just want to, I guess, it's a somber moment, but you were a victim of domestic violence, which is what this book is about. So how long after the situation did you write this book?
It probably took me about a year, but yeah, I'd say about a year to write it, and it sat on the shelf for 6 years before I actually brought it out in 2017.
Okay. So why did you decide to write it?
I needed it. It was a healing process for me. I was consistently angry and needed to figure out different ways, even after going through therapy and everything. It just wasn't enough for me. And I think a part of that was because most people don't understand what you're really going through on the inside. So I needed to heal, and I had to find a way to do that. And this was a way that it helped. So there was just certain things that kept standing out in my mind that I just could not forget and get over at a certain period of time. And so the writing really helped me a lot.
So that's what most people, a couple of authors that we've had on the show before, that's what they've explained too. So I just always wonder about that. Now, in this book, you have a journal page at the end of it. Can you explain why you decided to do that?
Yes, I have journal pages in between, and I do that because there's always going to be somebody else who can resonate with the book. And a lot of times as victims, we have a tendency to want to keep everything to ourselves because we feel we're protecting everybody, and we're really not. And so as people read this, I want people to jot down the things that they're feeling or what they're going through, because what most people don't understand is being a victim is not just about the raising of the fist. It starts from everything from when you talk to a person, so you can have that portion of the abuse, and it escalates from there. And a lot of times we have a tendency to ignore all of those things. So being that if you're reading this book, whether you know somebody or whether it's you that's going through this process, this gives you an opportunity to write down and think about, wow, you know, she's talking about me, and I need to figure out how I'm going to work this out. And so that's the reason why I have the journal pages in between.
Kind of get it out there, don't hold it in.
Absolutely.
Okay. Another portion of your book, you have statistical information.
Yes.
So why did you feel that was beneficial to add to the book?
A part of it is because I wanted to be accurate, obviously, on the numbers. But other big part of it is because people seem to skip and think about domestic violence as that, oh, it happens. But it's only talked about during one time of the year, which is usually October. And even though we have instances every single day, I just listened to one last night that just threw me over the edge, you know, because it's just something that needs to be constantly noticed and understood. And it's taken many years from, I think the early 80s is when they actually even decided to call it domestic violence. And so having the statistics, I wanted people to be able to read and understand that this is real. It's not a joke. And all of us who feel that we're strong individuals, when it happened to me, I never would have thought in a million years I would be that one. But if I can help somebody and save somebody, I want them to be able to read the book and understand what those statistics are.
It's different when you, like you said, you don't see just yourself, you see all these other people and you realize you're not alone. Okay, so just inside the book, I just wanted to point out something. So chapter 6 is written in present tense, and because it kind of stood out to me. And at the end it says, I pray that one day I will wake up from this nightmare called life. And I just wonder, do you still feel like you need to wake up, or have you gotten to a better place? Kind of explain where you are.
Well, during that time when I was writing, I felt like I lived a nightmare for several years, and it just never seemed to end because I kept seeing those same visions over and over. And I obviously, you know, it's been more than 6 years, 7 years, gosh, going on 8 now. It was 2019, right? I'm definitely a much better place, but it was a time in the moment where I just felt so much inside of me that I didn't know which direction to go. But I would wake up one day, I felt like I was fine, and then the next day I felt like somebody was standing over me. And it was that person that I had been through all of the, you know, those issues with. So yeah, so that's part of the reason why I wrote that in the book. Well,
I'm glad to hear you're definitely in a better place and have moved on.
Thank you.
And we mentioned before about the healing process, but just explain again how how writing helps, or may be able to help someone else get their feelings out. Yeah,
writing, it gives you an opportunity to be free. You know, nobody's telling you what you should say or how you should say it, and it doesn't matter what other people think because it's your thoughts, right? But then after you go through and review it, you realize, like you said, you're not really alone. There are other people who've been through it, but most people don't take that personal written thought and give it out and let other people review it, right? And so for me, it was something I kept thinking, I have to do this. And even my son said, Mom, you know, you got to help other people, because look what you've been through and look at where you're at today. You know, I wasn't one who decided to just stay in the corner and not live. I decided I needed to live, but I also decided that there are other men and women out here who need my help.
Okay, and that's a very good place to be in. We definitely appreciate you writing that.
Thank you.
Hopefully it will help others in similar situations. So next, I just want to talk about the self-publishing process, because I like to share with our audience. So how was this process for you, publishing your books?
It was a pretty easy process because I've actually done this before. I am a self-published certified trainer and a coach, so I was able to take from my first experience of writing my first book and realize, okay, I need to figure out how can I do this better. Being a self-publisher, there's different tiers and different levels. So you have third-tier type companies, and then you have companies like Amazon. They have their own self-publishing process that you can utilize, and so it's called Kindle now, direct Kindle. And so taking all the information, I learned how to write the books. I've learned how to get the proper graphic artist I need to have, a person who knows how to do the spine, all the steps it takes. And I've taken completely the middleman completely out of it. And so every book that's being sold, everything I've done, obviously if it's being sold through Amazon or any of the other publishing places that you can sell, like Barnes & Nobles, they get a small percentage, but then the rest of the money, I get 100% myself.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just like to share that because I don't think people realize behind the scenes, you know, what goes into writing a book and being a publisher and going through the process. I definitely definitely understand. And then people have different options.
Absolutely.
So they can choose different ways to publish their books.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you have 3 books here. Do you plan on writing any more?
I am. I actually had a collaborative effort last year as well, called Hello Queen with TK Ware. There was 40 other women in that book, and it was an inspirational book. And then I'm currently going to be collaborating on another book I won't talk about, and I will probably have a 4th one coming out this year as well.
Okay, so definitely let us know. We'd like to get them out there. So if you can share your contact information and how we can purchase any of your books.
Sure. Like I said, all the books can be purchased on Amazon or either Barnes & Noble, but if you would like a special autographed copy from me, you would like to reach out to me at my gmail.com, which is KimberlyMcLemore@gmail.com, or you can reach me through Facebook as well or Instagram. I'm pretty much everywhere under author Kimberly McLemore.
Okay, that's what promotion is all about.
That's right.
Okay, so we're definitely glad to have you here. Good luck with your different endeavors that you have going on, and hopefully we'll stay in touch because I'm a small business.
Absolutely.
All right, nice to meet you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so
right,
much for your time.
too. We'll be right back. Memoir, Deception of the Heart, a real look into domestic violence, is one woman's account of her personal experience with such a serious issue. Although recounting a solemn subject, Ms. McLemore doesn't sound defeated. She uses this memoir to share her strength, to show others in similar situations how to trust and love again. So be prepared to be supported and uplifted when you sit down to read this book. A few tips about memoirs. The definition of a memoir is a historical account or biography written from personal knowledge or special sources. A memoir is not a step-by-step account of specific events. A memoir is told from one area of a person's expertise that illustrates something you know as a result from something you did. A memoir is not an autobiography. It's not about you. Hope you find these tips helpful. I would like to thank Ms. McLemore for joining me today. I'm not sure how she found the time with all she has going on with her businesses and hosting and writing books, but I certainly appreciate her sharing all of herself and her memoir about domestic violence. I hope that it will help others who may be experiencing a similar situation. So be sure to check her out on her other platforms. I'm sure she will continue to share her wisdom and expertise in the areas of entrepreneurship and writing books. If you are an author and would like to be featured on our program, you can send an email to cmjohnson@laurel.md.us or call 301-725-5300, extension 2110. We would love to have you on the show. I'm Christine Johnson, reminding you to open a book and let it take you on your next adventure.